Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Cool. Hey, from the audience, I got my questions, but theirs are always more fun. Allie in Texarkana, she remembers you from Austin days. She says, I love when Luke is on the show. You have a fun Austin, Texas story from your time with the Texas Stars? Something real quick.
Well, I'm still the all-time penalty minute and fight leader with the Texas Stars. So I started my career there. 4 years, 19 to 22 age. Some of my fondest memories were made in Cedar Park, Texas.
It is a grand town. From BW in Edmonton says, pardon me, Luke, who was the toughest hockey fighter you faced and hardest body checker?
Oh, good questions. The fighter part, I've never felt, still to the day, anyone as strong as Brian McGrattan. And I fought him my first Battle of Alberta in Calgary, center ice at the Saddle Dome. And when he grabbed onto my collar, I had never felt something like that in my life. He had this ability to move me around anywhere he wanted to go. And I remember just having an internal dialogue, just kind of hang in here, breathe, stay in there. But there was nobody like Big Earn, I'll tell you that much. Hitter.
Those are the best. Yeah.
But Dustin Byfuglien, anyone that has seen the YouTube clip of me get hit by Dustin Byfuglien, and I did a full 180, there was nobody like him in hockey, especially when he got moving. And when I tried to hit him multiple times, it was just like bouncing off a brick wall.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
And I'm like, you just got a life lesson, boys. There's always going to be somebody mean or somebody nasty or somebody big. There's always going to be. So you might as well learn it now. Thanks for picking on me and keeping me humble. I appreciate it, man. Enjoy the ball this weekend.
You look like you worked at Burger King in 1986 wearing that thing.
At least I had a job in 1986.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah. Bull Wager from ESPN that he has the balls to slam me. Working at Burger King. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. We're going to have fun. We always do, but we're going to have normal. No, I apologize if there's a connection issue. I don't know what's going on with the internet. I'm just face. It's episode number 1422 of your favorite daytime talk show with Moose. His way back to Toronto from calling the provincial curling championships. You guys let me know if there's something I need to do, like switching over to my phone. You let me know. Yeah, can we bring in Fracassi? He's the latest in the rotating stable of co-hosts with Moose not available. What's going on? Do we have control? What's going on? So what do you want me to do? What a day. Oh, my God. We're off to a great start. Hear me? You can't hear me. Zig is having issues logging in. Yeah. Please. Any chance this isn't a me problem, that it's a you chance of that? Oh, my God. We'll get this handled, everybody. No, it's never. Yeah, it's never. It's always us. Okay. Can you send me the link, please? We're having a wonderful start to the week here on the old RP Show. Okay, and we're going to get Zay shortly. I want to just go to a commercial while we get this sorted out, guys. You want to do that?
sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay, and we are ready to go, I think, on this Monday and a brand new week on the RP Show. Guys, do we have Zig? Is he logged in? I never heard from you, if we do or not. So is that my fault too? Is that on me? All right, everybody. Well, let's, we're cooking with gas on this Monday. So we're hoping to have Zig Fracassi joining us here coming up shortly. So here's what we have. As far as our quick six show topics go, you guys want to fire the horn? Let's see if the horn is working today. Okay. We can handle this with just the viewers and me, right? You know that, and I know that, but we'd like to bring along some of our friends for window dressing and entertainment. But we're going to start with this because we got some good stuff coming in. I can see it from the audience. Point number one, another Kansas City Chiefs playoff win. Another game where officiating steals the spotlight. Patrick Mahomes rallied Kansas City to a 32-29 victory over Josh Allen and the Bills in the AFC Championship game on Sunday, sending the Chiefs back to the Super Bowl for the fifth time in 6 years, with a chance to become the first team to three-peat ever in the Super Bowl era. But much of the talk centered on two more calls that went Kansas City's way. I'm not going to sit here and read you what those calls were because we all watched the games. And by the way, for those that have showed up and they're interested in hockey talk and maybe NBA talk and the CFL news. That's all coming up in our Quick Six show topics here today. But listen, it's what I'm seeing. I'm sure it's what you're seeing. So I was hoping to get Zig Fracassi on to talk about it. Any progress in that, Clark? Zig Fracassi coming on from SiriusXM NFL Radio. Okay. They're trying their best. It's just not clicking in. Well, here's the one thing that's interesting to me about that. Actually, a lot of things. And I'm going to try and give you all of the perspectives here, and hopefully people's feelings don't get hurt. Specifically, the National Football League, because if there's one thing I learned in 2024, especially near the end of 2024, is the NFL is watching this show. I can't think there's anything that I'm going to say that's going to offend the NFL any more than, let's say, Dan Orlovsky from ESPN or Troy Aikman on ESPN or Tony Romo last night on CBS. They're all calling out the NFL. Now, it's for incorrect calls and head-scratching calls that all seem to favor the Kansas City Chiefs. So Jeremy writes in from Winnipeg. He's a Kansas City fan. He says, the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. And he says, when it matters the most, Mahomes got it done, and Josh Allen didn't. Complain about the refs all you want. The refs didn't stop them from winning that game, says the Chiefs fan. And that's, before I go any further, that's the poll question today for our friends at EMJ Marketing. They'll provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com. Is the NFL favoring the Kansas City Chiefs? Last I saw on Twitter and YouTube, over 40% of you saying, yes, they are favoring the Kansas City Chiefs. And you have to understand something. You can favor a team, but that's not to say that they're fixing the games or rigging the games, because that is a mountain that I will die on. There is no way, shape, or form the National Football League or any other league is fixing games, because if that was the case, that would be the end of them. But you can't tell me they're not favoring the Kansas City Chiefs. And for you parents of multiple children, do you favor one kid over the other? Of course you do. It's the same thing here, whether you mean to or not. Carlos in Indianapolis writes, and he says, this talk about the refs favoring teams and the recurring hashtag NFL rig talking point just shows the increased amount of scrutiny officials are under, especially when they miss a call. See, that's the thing. They're not getting a pass on this, Carlos in Indianapolis. And anybody who thinks the Kansas City Chiefs, listen, it's not even the Chiefs' fault, okay? But we all saw the wrestling match just before halftime, or in the second quarter anyways, of the Xavier Worthy catch where he wrestled for the ball with the safety of the Bills. They both went to the ground. We're having an argument at my friend Brent's play. Not an argument, a discussion. Because he's like, that's a pick. And I'm like, in the case of a tie, it goes to the receiver. And of course, they slow it down 18 different times. And what our replays clearly show, the ball hit the ground. So it's neither an interception nor a reception. So they had to do the reviews. Let's remember, this is prime time, Sunday night, AFC Championship game. This isn't a Sunday game between Indianapolis and Houston at 1 o'clock that nobody cares about, okay? The replays clearly showed the ball hit the ground, and all of a sudden it's Kansas City first down at the 3, and Patrick Mahomes is waltzing in for the touchdown, which put them up 21-10. And if that isn't enough, you go into the fourth quarter, the Bills claw their way back to get a 22-21 lead. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this all morning, but you haven't heard me talk about it. And then Josh Allen on the 4th and 1 keeps the football. Even the official on the field spots it for a first down. And another official comes up and moves the ball back. Oh, turnover on downs. And it favors Kansas City again. So I'm not sure if that's convinced you enough, but I'm not sure that I'm even trying to convince you. But I think we all, and again, it's one thing for me to say it here on Game Plus Television, where, again, I should realize that they're all watching. I should have known that a long time ago. NFL Canada, as we're on national television in Canada and 32 U.S. states, which include a lot of NFL markets. I've been told the NFL is watching, but they're not paying me. And what that means is I can say whatever I want. And the beautiful thing is I don't have a dog in the hunt. I don't care. I also don't bet. This is the one part that I think is a coincidence or almost irony in a way. The Chiefs covered. The spread was 2. They won by 3. That's immaterial. But I go back to that thing with the parents. You're not supposed to favor one kid over the other, but you do. And the other kids are mad. So what's happening here? Okay, and the Kansas City Chiefs are off to the Super Bowl. And, it's quite interesting to see what people are saying. Well, they got their way. They got favored. Like Jeremy, the Chiefs fan that watches, I love you, man. You're a great guy, but don't come in here and do a victory lap. I love those that are saying, the Bills had their chances to win the game. That's not the point, which is a whole other thing. It's in my commentary today. I didn't post it to rodpedersen.com. You'll have to listen to it on Sask Radio. But this is a problem now that the NFL doesn't want, and I don't think can ignore any longer. I mentioned earlier the alumni that are all taking to social media to talk about it. Tony Romo, Troy Aikman. They're not accusing the NFL of rigging games. And why would they? Because those players turned analysts know that that's not the case. But what they are doing is ripping the NFL for awful officiating. I think we can all agree that when you are watching it, and any of those of us that have officiated sports, watching it one time, you can forgive the guy on the field. You can't forgive the umpteen guys and gals, if that applies, in the replay office in New York or Toronto in the NHL's case and CFL. It's inexcusable. So it's at a point now where somebody needs to answer for this, because I have not seen Roger Goodell stand at a podium and address this. But as you're heading into the Super Bowl, this is a bad look. And again, I find it really ironic and frankly a little hypocritical too, when I keep hearing from the NFL people, the deeper that I get into NFL circles, oh, the NFL doesn't want any controversy. The NFL doesn't want any controversy. So that's why Robert Kraft isn't on the ballot even to get into the Hall of Fame, because it'll invite all kinds of controversy if Robert Kraft gets into the Hall of Fame, so he doesn't get in. Okay. We can forgive the officials on the field for blowing it because it's happening so fast, but what about the 10 guys looking at a screen, 37 different angles in high def where the ball hit the ground? How are you explaining that? Because I think we're at a point where you have to explain that to people. Because, and we'll take a break and come back and continue this fun discussion. Guy wrote into rodpedersen.com today. His name's Tom. He's a regular reader, and he just goes, I'm done. I'm out. Football season ended for me. He goes, not me, but he's like, you guys want to complain about officiating in the CFL? Let's just point it out to any other league. This is inexcusable. This is worse. I said, I can't argue with you. Anyways, hoping to have Zig Fracassi when we come back. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Barry Rawlyk coming up from the Rattlers pro basketball team. Their general manager signed a new extension last week. He'll be with us in hour 2. We're live here on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcast wherever the best podcasts are found.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Did you know that you can help save life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay, we're pulling it all together. We actually are here on this Monday. I don't personally mind this look. Maybe this is the way that we'll do it. And, you know, we're having a problem getting a hold of Fracassi, SiriusXM NFL radio, but that's okay. I realized I didn't even need to take a commercial break there because we already took one in the opening minute of the show. So there was a producer, I won't name him, second television station I ever worked at. He said, you know, Rod is such a quality broadcaster, you can just turn the camera on and let him go. Just walk away. Just let him go. 20-some years later, he did. And that ended my time in Saskatchewan broadcasting. So there's that. Sorry, Clark, I was talking. You want to say that again? Okay. Pretend everything's normal. That's what I got. Clark said it's one of those days. Actually, he said it's one of those blank days. It rhymes with ducky. It's one of those ducky days. This is funny. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta writes in. He says, I thought your Monday rant would be about the Cowboys promoting Brian Schottenheimer to be head coach. Rod, what's up with that? Well, I can't remember who it was. Somebody told me back in the day. Keep him guessing. You came in here thinking I was going to rant about that. No. Keep him guessing. Ranting about the football games yesterday. And again, I don't bet. So I'm not that upset about it. But I could see not only how those would be that do bet, but also Buffalo Bills fans. And I've been in their shoes with teams that aren't favored by leagues. I've also been in the skates or shoes of the teams that are favored by the leagues. I can tell you what's better. And there ain't nothing you can do about it until the fad ends. It is a thing. I'm sorry. It is. Oh, as far as keeping them guessing, I bet you didn't, Tony, show up here expecting to have an ordained minister speaking to you right now, but I am. Became an ordained minister on Sunday. It's only so that I can do weddings and funerals and baptisms here in the state of Florida. I was advised to stay away from Jewish events and bar mitzvahs. Not familiar with the cultures and traditions, but I'm willing to learn. Ordained minister here right now. So watch him up. And Norm Fong writes in, the Hall of Fame equipment manager of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, writes in, he says, congratulations on your 10-year anniversary, Rod. Signed, Fongo. 10 years sober as of today. It took 10 years to, once I hit this anniversary, 10 years of being sober in life and recovery, I don't think about what life was like 10 years ago. No, it's not that I don't want to, I don't need to. But thank you, Normie. Every day since has been better. Darcy's watching in Grand Prairie regarding this theme of not only this show today, but pro football right now overall. He says it is naive to think that there is nobody trying to rig the system when there is so much money gambled on these games. Like it or not, the NFL is rigged narrative is picking up steam. He says also, if you haven't watched Shoresy, you are missing out. No, we've watched Shoresy. I like it. I don't love it. Serena's gone back and watched it twice. I like it. I don't love it. This got into our conversation yesterday about these streaming shows, and Brent from Wellington, Florida, is from southeastern Saskatchewan like me. So we talked about how much we love Landman, and his gal Bree's like, well, I'm not from there, so I don't get it. I'm not into it. Fair. But Letterkenny, Shoresy, I lived that life. That's in the past, so I don't get the humor in it at all. It was fun to live it. I don't need to go back and watch a show on it. But hey, I love that you love it. Watched the streaming series on Jerry Springer yesterday. I don't know if anybody has watched that. I would suggest that you do. You're welcome. Just to take a little off ramp, we used to watch the Springer Show on VHS on the bus with the hockey team. And over and over and over. We couldn't believe what we were watching. As is very clearly outlined in the show, it's a theme. It had never been done before on television. But here's the thing. I stopped watching it around, for sure, early 2000s. I don't know the year. Did you know that the Jerry Springer Show went till 2018? I stopped watching it because it just got way, way too stupid. Probably around the time they brought the guy out and introduced the crowd to his wife, who they brought out from backstage, and it was a horse. How about this? Okay. And on that note, Zig Fracassi joins us from SiriusXM NFL Radio. Ziggy, oi, oi, oi. What's up, my dog?
Dude, sorry for the connection. I think we had to go through international chambers here.
How about that?
You're totally fine, and you're good. Listen, disclaimer here, my guy. Does the NFL own the radio channel on which you broadcast?
I know there's an agreement there. So I don't think they own it, but there's an agreement there for sure.
Okay, so I want to get that disclaimer out there because it all kind of depends on who's paying us. How do you feel on this officiating narrative coming from the people, well, from everybody, but specifically Troy Aikman, the Tony Romos, the Dan Orlovskis, the Antonio Brown. Everybody is saying the refs botched the game, and it always seems to fall in favor of Kansas City. What can you say about that?
What I can say about that, Rod, is simply this. you've got to be able to make the plays at the end of the game to win the ball game. That's what it comes down to. Like on that 4th and 1 with the Josh Allen play, you know what? Don't try to force the play like 2 or 3 different times as I take off my old man glasses here. I had to do some research here. But basically, that was a play where if you maybe run a different play as opposed to the tush push or whatever you were trying there, then don't get into that particular situation. So to me, you know, you could make the argument, well, his back was on the first down line, when in fact, nobody, Rod, ever saw the ball. So, of course, people are going to always say, oh, there's a conspiracy. The refs want the Chiefs to win. In the end, the Bills didn't make enough plays because after that, Kansas City cashed in for the touchdown. But you also remember Buffalo responded with the tying touchdown. So there were opportunities there. You just need to make big plays. Chiefs made more of them. This is why they're going back to their 3rd straight Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I don't, God, you and I are great friends. I do not want to get in any sort of an argument over this. Maybe a mild debate. What about the Xavier Worthy catch that clearly hit the ground near the end of the first half?
Yeah, I mean, we discussed that on our post-game show last night. Jim Miller, of course, did a terrific job covering the NFC Championship for us in Philadelphia. He said, boy, there was clearly part of that ball that hit the ground. The only thing that I could think of in that particular instance were 2 things. One, maybe the ref was shielded, or you've always heard that you can go up for a catch, and if the ball does hit the ground a little bit, but if there's, you know, an arm or a hand underneath the ball, then it's still constituted as a catch. So maybe that's where it is, Rod. But I would say that was probably, at worst, that was an incomplete pass. That was a hell of a play by Worthy to wrestle it out of Bishop's hands.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, man. You've been in this business a long time. Obviously, I respect your opinion. I also understand who you work for. So trust me, I get it. But the one thing is, let's just talk about this with the Chiefs going back to the Super Bowl, looking to win a 3rd straight. The fact of the matter is they make the NFL a lot of money. The Taylor Swift thing, now the Caitlin Clark thing, they're still the darlings. While America might be turning, and you tell me more, I see a lot of Chiefs hate that wasn't there a year ago. I don't think the NFL hates the Chiefs. I think they really like the Chiefs from a financial standpoint.
Oh, yeah. I mean, let's face it. You have a chance for, you know, a once-in-a-lifetime deal here, because other than the 29 through 31 Green Bay Packers and then the 60s Packers, Rod, that won the 65 NFL championship and the first 2 Super Bowls, this is the first time that any of the repeat champions in the Super Bowl era has even had a chance to get to a 3rd. So that in itself is an accomplishment. And I think I would agree that there is some Chiefs fatigue, but to me it also says that arguably, you could say this right now with all due respect to Brady, Montana, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time. And the fact, Rod, that he's still not satisfied, he's still hungry to win championships, that to me says quite a bit there. And yes, I think there's Chiefs fatigue, but if you really appreciate it, there's also a lot of admiration. I can tell you, I'm one of those that has a lot of admiration, because you and I weren't even around. Well, we're in the 60s, but we were small kids or whatever. You know, how would sports media have treated the Celtics winning 8 straight championships? How would they have treated UCLA basketball winning 7 straight? You don't think there was Celtics or UCLA Bruins fatigue? I mean, it is what it is. But to me, it just says sustained excellence, a great game plan. That's why this team succeeds.
It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. I think of the 80s Oilers, and I know you're a hockey fan, to 2010s Calgary Stampeders. I admire the excellence. I'm like you. I don't get upset at it. I don't. Man, can I back up the milk truck for a second? I wrote this down. I'll make sure I have it right. You said you can say Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time. Did you say that?
I said you can make the argument for it. I'm
Okay.
still
Okay.
I'm still on the Brady train myself, but put it this way, Rod. That distance between New York and LA, maybe it's now New York to Chicago, if you want to look at it in terms of miles, in terms of Brady and Mahomes. But boy, if Mahomes, they win this third straight, Rod, that's something Brady didn't do. So.
Oh, hey, I get it. I get it. The seven Super Bowls is 7 Super Bowls, and Pat isn't even halfway there yet. But that's not to say
He's
that he
getting
won't.
there, though.
He's getting there fast. He's getting there fast. The viewers wanted a take on the Cowboys hiring Brian Schottenheimer. I'll be honest. I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan. You were. I think you jumped off the bandwagon, if I'm correct.
Oh, I did. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I understand why. I actually tried, but I couldn't. I tried, but I couldn't, and that's fine. It's a personal preference thing. I don't like Jerry. You don't like him at all. Schottenheimer is not that interesting. I was hoping it would be prime. What's your take on this move by America's team?
Well, look at it this way. It wasn't going to be prime simply because Jerry doesn't do buyouts. That's never been his modus operandi.
Yeah.
Now, let's face it, and I worked with his dad on SiriusXM NFL Radio, the late, great Marty Schottenheimer, wonderful coach. Unfortunately, he had the rap rod of not being able to get over the hump, whether it was with Cleveland, those games against Denver, or 14-2 San Diego, couldn't get by New England. Marty, wonderful man, wonderful coach. God rest his soul. Brian, give him credit. He's been a lifer. He's worked with some different teams, and that was part of Russell Wilson's early success with the Seattle Seahawks. It's not the sexiest hire, but I think you look at it from the Cowboys standpoint, you've got continuity there because obviously he works with Dak Prescott. So I think that was a part of this. CD Lamb's going to be coming back next year. It's clear they need to upgrade the talent base. But I think what you want is familiarity. Of course, the cynics are going to say, well, it's a puppet for Jerry and Stephen Jones to control. You can go through that all you want. But I would have maybe reached for a different plateau. I honestly thought that maybe with McCarthy gone, Mike Zimmer would have been promoted because he was a head coach with the Vikings, but he's going to retire. I know they interviewed Saleh. I know they interviewed Leslie Frazier. But don't look for the Cowboys to ever bring in a Ben Johnson type or a hot collegiate type. It was what it was, Rod. It appears to be safe, maybe unspectacular, maybe boring. But, hey, it's a first time. And, people were using this comparison. A few years ago, everybody's railing on the Dan Campbell hire for the Lions. That one's turned out pretty good. So if that's even a semblance of a Dan Campbell hire, maybe the Cowboys got something here.
Here's what I've done with the Cowboys. You've jumped off the train. That's cool. I get it. I have detached with love. It's a recovery term. I'll still cheer for you. I'll watch what you're doing, but I'm not going to let the stupid things you do affect my emotions.
Rod, here's what it is. And Jera, give him, hey, listen, he's made his money now. His franchise is worth $10 billion. He makes money with the legends, hospitalities in different stadiums around the country. And now I guess he's pursuing an acting career at age 82 or whatever the case may be. The fact of the matter is he doesn't feel compelled, nor do the Jones family, that they have to win anymore. People are going to continue to buy in to the America's teams myth and all this kind of thing. And that's where I'm like, I can't. You ever heard the saying, Rod, I can't want it more than you? That's where I am. That's where I was with the Cowboys. And after that Detroit game, I was actually going to check out after the Pittsburgh game, but they won that. I go, let me give them another game or two. But when they were persona non grata against the Lions, that's it. Almost 50 years. Love you. Roger Staubach, Troy Aikman. the triplets, I'm done.
Well, dude, you and I can go forever. Like, you know that I live in Miami now. I got Dolphins fans saying to me, Rod, cheer for the Dolphins. There's just as much heartache, but no expectations. It's way easier than being a Cowboys fan. But I just can't bring myself to do it. I can't. Hey, 60 seconds or less. You can do that on Pete Carroll to Vegas.
I like it. Really interesting now that Tom Brady and Pete Carroll are hooked up once again nearly 10 years after second and dumb with that Seahawks call in Super Bowl 49. But Pete's a veteran. I think they need some discipline, some excitement too. And the fact that he got along with the new GM there, the guy Brady brought in from Tampa, John Spytek. Apparently Pete and Spytek hit it off extremely well. It's a good start, but the Raiders have a lot of work to do.
Especially a good coach. Finding a quarterback would be nice, or maybe drafting one, right?
Well, this might not be the year, Rod, because I think if you look at it objectively, Deion's kid, Shadir Sanders, and Cam Ward, the kid out of Miami, are probably the only two maybe worthy of a first-round selection. Although if he were to, I wonder now if the Raiders would reach a kid that I've been impressed with in spots in his career, Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss. But I'm not sure he's a first-round pick, but maybe the Raiders reach for him. That remains to be seen. And I love Aiden O'Connell because I got to know him, the young man, and being 8th string at Purdue and then breaking all sorts of school records. He's shown some ability, but you can tell there's limitations. Minshew is what he is. That's why I think the Raiders do need a quarterback. If he's around, maybe a guy like Jackson Dart would fit the profile in Vegas.
Awesome update. And Zig, thanks for your dogged determination to get connected here. I really appreciate you, man. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Love you. Absolutely. You're going to be down there, right?
No, I ended up not going. We have a reporter going from the South Florida Tribune, but it's not working out. Are you going?
I'm planning on it. Yes, definitely. So now
okay, well, maybe you can join us from there.
You again. Jeez.
Exactly. Keep waiting. Thank you, Zig.
All right,
Zig
buddy.
Fracassi
Always a pleasure.
From SiriusXM NFL Radio. You know him, you love him. We'll be right back. I got a sports update. Got a lot of your questions and comments to get to, so stick around. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcast wherever the best podcasts are found.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house. Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's been quite a day. Brand new week on the RP show, and brand new problems. I don't know what it is. We got Herb in Melville writes in on the 902 line. Hey, Rod, your sound on our end is crap. Can you just sit there, Herb? Can you just sit there and enjoy the show? We're on it. There's something going on with the internet here in the sanctuary office towers. We're aware, Herb. Just enjoy the show. Or don't. And it's funny. You got our favorite. I mean, they are P1s, priority one viewers. They watch every day, like John in Edmonton writes in. Connor McDavid's coming back from suspension tonight. Can you just sit there, too? And I'll handle this. Because we're coming out of a very busy weekend. And I really enjoy this sports newsletter that I get every day from yahoo.com. And here's some of the things that went on that we were completely missed because our head is so buried, or at least mine is, in hockey, NFL football, CFL football. The New Jersey Nets, the Brooklyn Nets of the NBA raised Vince Carter's number 15 number to the Raptors on Saturday in Brooklyn, 3 months after the Raptors did the same in Toronto. That makes Vince Carter the 17th NBA player to have his number retired by multiple teams. How about that?
How about that?
Right. And the thing is, I think we, through 1,422 shows, have at least cured people from writing in going, what about the golf? NFL, the Chicago Bears are hiring 28-year-old Declan Doyle as their new offensive coordinator, making him the youngest coordinator in the National Football League. This comes 2 days after the Raiders hired Pete Carroll, who will be the oldest head coach in NFL history when he takes the field next fall. 74. Age is but a number, as we all know. Clark, you said that we're on track. Am I to take it? When should I take the next commercial break? Do we have 2 before the top of the hour? I am right now? Okay. We'll talk about those order games, the order game when we come back, all the other NHL games. We have literally so much to get to. We've spent 47 minutes on NFL alone. See if we can get this computer working in the break. I will tell you the sports updates brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. And number one at the Landmark Cinemas box office right now, Flight Risk. In this high-stakes suspense thriller directed by Mel Gibson, Mark Wahlberg plays a pilot transporting a fugitive to trial. As they cross the Alaskan wilderness, tensions soar and trust is tested, as not everyone on board is who they seem. Flight Risk in Landmark Cinemas now. We'll be right back with a mini overtime right after this. We're live on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Okay, we're back. Just a note to the guys in the Millennium Falcon. I am restarting the computer. A note to the viewers. Noon Eastern. The internet kind of went kablooey from the office towers at Sanctuary Office and Suites, 400 North Federal Highway in Boca Raton, Florida. It's not the whole show into a tizzy, but we're getting through it, I think. And we haven't even talked hockey yet. Here's a disclaimer, or a promo for the Rod Squad newsletter. I told you I enjoy the Yahoo.com newsletter I get every day. Every Sunday, Our show puts out a newsletter. It's my Weekend 10 Things as part of it. And I had a lot of thoughts in there on the blockbuster trade that came down Friday night. I'm going to read a little bit of it from the Associated Press Wire. Facing the prospect of Mikko Rantanen becoming an unrestricted free agent after this season, Colorado Avalanche general manager Chris McFarland felt the timing was right to trade the star forward and bolster the Avalanche's roster for the future. Colorado parted with Rantanen Friday night in a 3-team deal, shipping him off to Carolina while acquiring forwards Martin Necas and Jack Drury, as well as a second-round pick in this year's draft and a fourth-rounder in 2026. Carolina also got forward Taylor Hall from Chicago in the trade. Now, as I was hanging out at home on a Friday night, as I do, and these reports started to rain down, I literally thought it was fake news. And I think the first one that I saw was from Biznasty. I'm like, there's no way. He's like, Necas is going to Colorado. No, he was right. And I'll give Paul Bissonnette, Spittin' Chicklets, NHL on TNT, a lot of credit. He didn't break the story. I'm not sure who did. Apparently, Frank Seravalli got parts of the trade wrong. But yeah, it all went down, and it was by Saturday night on Hockey Night in Canada. I'll give Elliot Friedman and whoever else needs it the credit for explaining that this was not a hockey trade. This was a financial trade. And to be honest, I'm not a GM. I know maybe you like to pretend you're a GM, but you're not. So it was really weird. But Kevin Biek, it was weird. Come on. Martin Necas, leading scorer for Carolina, for Mikko Rantanen on the expiring deal. In what world does that make sense? Kevin Biek on Hockey Night in Canada Saturday night saying that, has anybody checked with Connor Bedard? Which I put that comment in my 10 Things column. I'm sure Bedard's not happy. I'm sure Connor Bedard's not happy about a lot of things. Not the least of which is that Chicago's not going to be good anytime soon. Although a very close friend of mine is a scout for the Blackhawks. He's fairly new to the outfit. All they got to do is draft properly. Well, that's not all they need to do. They need to spend their money wisely. There's a lot of things the Chicago Blackhawks have to do to get out of this wilderness, and they need to do it all right, or else they're going to be bad forever. And they have a general manager there in Kyle Davidson that not everybody has faith in. Came up through the organization, started as an intern, hasn't worked for any other teams. I think you're in hope and pray time if you're a Chicago Blackhawks fan. There will be a lot of hockey coming up in hour two because I want to talk about Alex Pietrangelo pulling out of the Four Nations face-off for Team Canada. He announced it on Sunday, battling a mystery ailment, and then goes out and plays 24 minutes for Vegas against the Florida Panthers last night. Are you, as a Canadian, upset that he's pulling a shoot on the international tournament? Or do you get it? Because to be honest, I kind of get it. And Barry Rawlyk, the GM of the Rattlers, coming up in hour two. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back after this.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
And I'm like, you just got a life lesson, boys. There's always going to be somebody mean or somebody nasty or somebody big. There's always going to be. So you might as well learn it now. Thanks for picking on me and keeping me humble. I appreciate it, man. Enjoy the ball this weekend.
You look like you worked at Burger King in 1986 wearing that thing.
At least I had a job in 1986.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
I still don't understand what was bad about working for Burger King in 1986. Blame Mo Egger, not me. Like, I'd like to think we're past that in society. Okay, ta-da, we're back. Way to go, boys. If you're just joining the show, here in hour 2, hour 1, quite frankly, was an unmitigated success. Given the fact that we went to air, we couldn't get on the air. It's all good. And here we are. Everything's back to normal. While we're at it, you guys want to hit the Quick Six show horn, and I'll just re-up what we have been talking about. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
It was a hell of a lot of NFL to open the program for like 40 minutes or so. So now just sit back, get comfortable. I have closed the YouTube feed. I will open it in a second. But these are the Quick Six show topics. I didn't really get through anywhere near all of them. Point 1 was another Kansas City playoff win and another game where officiating stole the spotlight. Patrick Mahomes rallied Kansas City to a 32-29 win over the Buffalo Bills in the AFC title game on Sunday night, sending the Chiefs to the Super Bowl, sending the Bills home. Much of the talk centered on 2 more calls that went Kansas City's way. And hey, listen, if you do have the time and the means, go back and listen to our interview with Zig Fracassi last hour, because this is going to just tell you the difference between who's paying your check. Zig's on SiriusXM NFL Radio, vis-a-vis paid by the NFL, owned by the NFL. He wasn't having much of the officiating discussion. He was like, literally, despite all those bad calls, the Bills still had a chance to win in the end. But we're talking about the calls. He didn't want to talk about that. He's my friend. I'm not going to pin his shoulders to the mat. I'm at least getting with it now in terms of don't ask questions. That is the sports media in the new decade. Don't ask questions that we don't want to answer. Okay. I'm just wondering how that will play out when it has to do with Troy Aikman on ESPN ripping the officials and Tony Romo on CBS ripping the officials and Dan Orlovsky of ESPN ripping the officials. How far does this go? Do they get away with it? Somebody want to explain that? So our poll question today, and I should update it, is the NFL favoring the Kansas City Chiefs? And I'm not a fan. I'm not a hater. I'm not a fan. I'd like to think I'm fairly non-biased in the thing. 66% on Twitter saying yes, they are. And I'm guessing on YouTube it's very similar to that as well. We're not saying it's rigged. Now, the guy from Grand Prairie watches all the time. Darcy wrote in. He goes, it's getting louder, people saying that it's rigged, and it's getting harder to argue. I got all time for this, all day for this discussion if you do. I think staying silent at this point, that has clearly been the NFL's MO to this point. They haven't said anything. I haven't seen Roger Goodell at a podium. I don't even know who the director of officiating is, let alone seen him holding a news conference to say, hey, we blew it. But those mistakes, those missed calls Sunday night that went in the Chiefs' favor are inexcusable. I know we spent a lot of time on this last hour, but it's the biggest thing that everybody's talking about. And I just find it real interesting that Zig didn't want any part of it. And I've been in his shoes. It's a tough place to be. And it's not a place that I want to be anymore. I don't know what he thinks. I could call him after. He didn't want to talk about it. Because you know why? He knows we're right. So I'm just interested to see where this all goes. That's all. Bear with me, because I'm going to call up the YouTube feed here right now and see what I missed in there. I do appreciate my guy, Tony and Cochrane Alberta, writing in and saying, I thought you'd be ranting about the Dallas Cowboys hiring Brian Schottenheimer. I wasn't surprised, and I don't really care anymore. Serena and I talk about this all the time. She will always be a dyed-in-the-wool Oilers fan, and that's cool. She can't see herself cheering for any other team, and she actually looks down on people that switch teams. I'm like, everybody cheer for however they want. I'm not going to switch teams. Zig was a Cowboys fan. He's quit because he knows we will never win as long as Jerry Jones owns and runs the team. But who am I going to go cheer for? The Dolphins? They're just as bad. John in Edmonton writes in, and he says, Rod, the Kansas City Chiefs did stuff that should have had flags on the field, but they never had them. I know. That's what we're saying. John, woohoo. Rod sounds normal now. I know, it's the microphone. Very expensive mics. You don't think there's a big difference? There is. Oh, and I could have a lot of fun with you people here on all of this. John from Edmonton also says, hey, Rod, Calgary's own Nate Burleson wants fans to ignore the narrative and enjoy the Chiefs' success. Oh, yeah, that's always going to work, telling people how to act and what to think and what to talk about. That's always been a very successful effort. Utah, Darren writes in, he says, first year of the Utah Hockey Club has been a fun roller coaster ride, some good stakes, some bad, even getting the name has been unpredictable. I can't believe the was it the U.S. Patent Office or the National Hockey League refused the name Yetis? Can we appeal? It's got to be the Yetis or some sort of offshoot of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever. I like the Yeti. I can't believe they refused it. But thanks for tuning in from Utah. And they do want to talk about Alex Pietrangelo, just to steer things around here. And Barry Rawlyk coming up, the GM of the Rattlers, in the next segment. I was reading earlier, Alex Pietrangelo won't participate in the Four Nations face-off next month. The Vegas Golden Knights defenseman says he's pulling out to tend to an ailment and to prepare for the rest of the NHL season. There's no immediate word on who might replace him in the Canadian lineup. The tournament begins February 12th. See, I wanted to ask Zig Fracassi about that, but we had connection issues with Ziggy. So I'm going to ask you, for the hockey fans that have come to play today. And we'll push the CFL talk for later after we're done with Barry Rawlyk, because the Blue Bombers have said goodbye to veterans Drew Wolotarski and Adam Bighill, and that's not going over well with the fan base nor the players. But back to the Pietrangelo thing. I'm on the, I'm telling you, newsletters are the way to go. I'm on the Vegas Golden Knights newsletter email list, and that's where I found out that Pietrangelo is saying, I'm out for Team Canada. I have a mysterious ailment, not going to allow me to play. Then he takes the ice last night for the Vegas Golden Knights, plays 24 minutes in a 4-1 victory over the Florida Panthers. You see, I got my radar up and I'm paying attention for us being snowed and BS. I've taken that upon myself on your behalf, so you don't have to. The BS meter. I'll stay on guard for it. You go live your life. I have a mystery ailment. I can't play in the Four Nations face-off. Later that night, plays 24 minutes, Golden Knights win. I guess Gary Lawless, former friend of mine, you would ask him, I could just see him. And by the way, we spent a lot of time together over the years. What do you expect him to say, Rod? I don't want to play for Canada, so I'm out? Well, the truth would be nice, because he's clearly not telling the truth. My point is, if you don't want to play, don't play. I'm not going to hold it against him. I wonder if the Golden Knights or himself fears what Canadians will think if he doesn't want to represent the country. Apparently, we're stuck in 1984. You know, that's like with the New England Patriots players' families being upset that they learned on Twitter and on social media that Gerard Mayo was fired just hours after their last game. I mean, what did you expect the Patriots to do? Call a news conference so all the wives could be there? Again, it's not 1984. Can we get with the time? So all I'm saying is if Alex Pietrangelo doesn't want to play for Team Canada, Four Nations face-off, for whatever the reasons are, he doesn't even need to say it. Obviously, the Golden Knights don't feel the same way, and I just wonder how you feel about it, because I'm not offended. We have more than enough quality hockey players in Canada to fill that team. Darcy in Grand Prairie writes in, he says, regarding the Utah hockey team, the Yeti population was offended. That's good. That's funny. I was just moving ahead with the assumption the team would be called the Utah Yetis. John Ohm says, who's coaching Canada in the Four Nations? His name is John Cooper, from Prince George, British Columbia, and a graduate of the Athol Murray College of Notre Dame. John Cooper. Allie in Texarkana writes in, she says, you think it had to do with the company Yeti? The thermos company? Maybe. But how closely were you following the Golden Knights when they named their team? There was a copyright infringement there, too. And Bill Foley, the owner, just, who do I make the check out to? And I guess Ryan Smith, the owner of the Utah somethings, didn't want to write the check to whomever blocked it. Brian in Hudson's Bay writes in, and he echoes what Norm Fong said last hour. He says, congrats on your 10 years as well, Rod. 10 years sober today, 10 years in recovery. Thank you, guys. And I've reached a point. It only takes a decade to not want or care or even think about going back to where I was 10 years ago. It takes a while to get there. But life's been every day better every day since. So thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Pretty happy about it. The way this show technically, because of the internet, started out, it kind of reminded me why I drank in the first place. Didn't handle stress that well. I actually didn't handle anything well for the first several decades of my life, but thank God that's over. Brian in Hudson's Bay, same guy, writes in, he goes, first of all, I'm not a Chiefs fan, farthest thing from it. I was pulling for the Bills. But on those two plays, yes, the ball hit the ground but never moved. That is allowed. I have seen other plays called a catch when the ball hits the ground, but the receiver has possession of it and it doesn't move. They call it a catch. See why I hate talking about officiating, which this is another thing where, because I got so many people are on my ass about calling the play-by-play again. And I just can't see myself doing it because of what goes with it. The problem is in this recovery world where I work as a recovery coach, you feel and absorb everything, even the negative. And for instance, Tony Romo, who I don't really care for as a color guy, didn't care for him as the Cowboys quarterback. He's on the air last night because I was watching it at the house of Brent from Wellington, Florida, saying, how was this a catch? It hit the ground. Well, if Brian in Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan knows the rules, how come you don't, Tony? And that's the stressful part. I can handle the hockey, believe me. We've gone over that. The football, from league to league to league, different rules in the CFL, NFL, college, high school, and you're expected to know them all. Oh, well, Tony Romo, you're making $13 million a year as a color guy. You should know that rule. Yeah, he should. In the CFL, my God, stuff was happening all the time. I didn't even know what the hell was going on. I'm not a coach. Damn sure not a ref. The coaches don't even know the rules in the CFL. So all that I'm saying is, how come Tony's ass isn't on the fryer then? Because he didn't know the rule. It's the way the game is now, and it's kind of off-putting. Like the guy wrote in here, actually to rodpeterson.com this morning, he goes, I'm out for watching NFL. People bitch about CFL officiating. This is 10 times worse. Ali in Texarkana says, so happy for you, Rod. Congratulations. Thank you. I'm going to tell you something in a very non-arrogant way. It'll be taken that way, but I don't care. I'm happy for me. 10 years, I was thinking this morning, is a long time. It's a lot of 1 days at a time. Definitely not going back. Jeff the Stamps fan says, 10 years is nothing to sneeze at, Rod. Thank you, Jeff the Stamps fan. And hey, in your honor, Jeff the Stamps fan, this is what I'm slurping my coffee out of today. Which, by the way, Jeff says the Stampeders almost had a problem with Ford Motor Company about 15 years ago. Tell me more. Because I remember, I don't talk about it as much as I should, but I was the voice of the Regina Rams. They were actually the first team that I was the voice of. And there was, I think it was the Colorado Rams or maybe the LA Rams at that time, came after every team named Rams, tried to shut them down. And you know what the boys in the horn said? Eat it.
How about that?
So you apparently can say that. Jeff the Stamps fan says, but Stan Schwartz, that was the guy that ran the Stamps back in the day, produced a document from the 1970s where Ford says it was okay. Well, what's interesting about that, and then we got a break, and I'm sure we have Barry Rawlyk ready to come in, but the Ford family's still running Ford. Yeah, they are. That's pretty cool. Sheila Ford, she owns the Detroit Lions. How did she forget? I thought it was very eerily similar. I didn't want to say anything. It's very offended in Calgary. John Ohm says, congrats on the decade, Roddy. That a boy. And Ali says everyone should get to a point where they are happy for themselves, I think. It takes a lot of work. I'm going to tell you something. It's worth it. We'll be back with Barry, my guy Barry, in a second, talking some hoops. And we got the CFL stuff to get to later. NHL games tonight. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television. Live streaming and podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
The program is brought to you by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. They've got it all. Use promo code RP Show for 15% off now. Check us out at seatgiant.ca. The news release says the Saskatchewan Rattlers of the Canadian Elite Basketball League announced that Barry Rawlyk will return as general manager and vice president of basketball operations for his 7th season with the team. You boys can bring Barry in now. The Rattlers are working on assembling their roster ahead of 2025 CEBL free agency under Rawlyk's leadership while utilizing his connections in the basketball world. Does that sound about right, Barry? Congratulations on the new deal.
Well, thanks, Rod. It's a privilege to be with you. I always enjoy listening in on your show, and to be able to speak with you here is a real privilege.
Well, thank you. You always say the nicest things. And year 7 for you with the CEBL and the Rattlers, Barry. Before we look ahead, you want to look back at how that's gone? Has it been fast, long, or not?
You know, 2019 seems like just yesterday. From the start of the league and where the league has come since that point in time has been pretty remarkable run in terms of the growth of the league. And, there's been a lot of twists and turns along the way, but, for the most part, the ascension of the league in terms of talent, in terms of the operation of the league has been just phenomenal, and really looking forward to 2025.
I can't wait to get to the games at SaskTel Center and as many as I can along the road. I guess where you started, what would you say that the league's hanging its hat on? Because you're going into year 7. I call ourselves startup cousins because we started in the same year. You guys started in 2019. This show started in 2019. You've now got players in the NBA. Would I be right in saying more than ever? Because you had players in the NBA a few years back, too. That's not new.
Well, I think just the perception of the league and the basketball world has tremendously changed. As you say, there's a number of players that have gone on to play at the NBA level, including Elijah Harkless, who was with us last season and now is with Utah Jazz. And so I think more and more players, whether that be at the NBA level or the G League level or players playing overseas, see the CEBL as a viable option, a viable part of the basketball world that can help them in their careers to ascend to the highest levels of play.
Yeah, so what flipped the switch then? Because I got to be honest, Barry, I knew all you guys from before. You didn't need to sell me on cred. What did you have to do to get cred in the world then?
Well, I think it's an awareness thing, a large part of it. People, when the league first started, it was certainly entertaining in terms of its value, but I don't think people quite understood the level of talent in the league. And since that point, every year, the talent level has exponentially grown. And, the fan base has come to realize now the high level of play that they're able to come out and watch on any given night. And so, that's really brought some real credit to the league. I think there's some strong ownership in place in the league now that has gone on to try and further enhance the quality of the product that we're putting forward. And I think the league's on a very, very good trajectory right now. Unlike some of the leagues that we see around the world right now, I think we're headed in a real positive direction.
Okay, well, I'm glad for the answer because I've had the good fortune of bumping into you along the way and having our chats about this, but to me, the league was always great. So I guess the key was sticking around, and as you say, getting the national television deals and bringing in the Chuck Swirsky's and the Rod Blacks and Amy and so forth. Yeah, I guess it was a credible thing. It was just sticking around. But the big question that I asked Lee Genier, your team president, just a few weeks ago, and I got to put it to you. We all know the elephant in the room. You recruit these big-name hotshots. You get off to your best start in franchise history in Saskatchewan, and then they bail. Wah, wah, wah. How do you fix that?
Well, it's not an event; it's a process. And so, in talking with a lot of the agents and the players themselves in terms of trying to sign them, particularly this year after the events, the way things transpired last year, I've been very careful in trying to vet what their career goals are and I know what their career goals are long term. They all want to make it to the league. That's what they want to do. But the process by which they want to get there, and whether they're prepared to, stay the season in order to, continue their development throughout the entire CEBL season. And, one of the things that we do is we're looking at structuring contracts in such a way that there's incentive for them to stay the full season as opposed to leaving when the summer league starts or whenever that may be. And, working with the salary cap, that's a little bit tricky to do that sometimes, but, we have to incentivize these guys to stay for a longer period of time. And so, that's one of the things we have to try and navigate, and that's what we're trying to do.
Well said. And it sounds like you and Lee are on the same page. You've put your heads together on this. Just so you know, the way he worded it was a little bit of recruiting differently. Would that sum it up? Kind of what you're talking about there?
Exactly. Lee and I, we've had detailed discussions about this and, what we need to do to be able to, I guess we could recruit down and, bring in lesser talent that we know is going to stick around for the year. But really, at the end of the day, we're trying to put the best product we possibly can on the court for our fans. We want them to be watching the highest level of talent that we can possibly recruit. So rather than recruit down, we're going to recruit a little bit differently. And what that means is, as I've just previously described, that's what we're trying to do in order to get those types of players that we know are going to be high level players, but we're going to be able to retain them for the year.
Here's something that's new. Since you've been around since day one, if I wasn't at the games live, I was watching them here on Game Plus television, and those arenas like in Langley and out east, Eastern Canada, Winnipeg, let's not even go there. packed, 13,000 in the Saddle Dome. That's a big difference, Barry, from year one. That had to be pretty cool to go into those arenas and be legit. Like it was a show. That's a big difference from year one.
Yeah, I mean, in my time in the basketball, I've obviously had opportunities to be in all sorts of NCAA Final Four type arena situations. I've been to a number of NBA venues, and some of the things that we're doing here now in the CEBL are just phenomenal in terms of the atmosphere that's being created there, and beyond the game experience itself is just it's just really phenomenal. And first-time fans who come to watch Rattler games, they come out of it and they're all saying like, "Wow, that was fun. That was awesome. What an event. I got to come back. That was really exciting." So yeah, it's what's been able to be created across the league is just really something that's really quite remarkable. And as I said, it's trending in the right direction. You see some other leagues that are having their struggles. But there's just something there with what the CEBL is doing as a total package. It's really become exciting.
Yeah, well, I can't stress enough. You didn't have to prove anything to me, but I guess not everybody knows you guys the way that I was. And since you talk about the other leagues, how much you follow in the NBA, Barry, specifically here in Miami, as Jimmy Butler returns to the lineup tonight against Orlando. Are you following that grease fire?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty extraordinary. I mean, I kind of understand the world of the NBA and some of the personalities that are involved there. And, when you see some of those situations playing out, I guess, on the one hand, it's a little bit unsettling to see some of those things happen with franchises. But on the other hand, I think it certainly puts some eyeballs on the teams in the NBA. So I think the NBA, is not necessarily all averse to that, some of that coverage, whether it not be the best.
Well, I guess, you're nowhere near the age of Pat Riley, but he's the guy taking the lead on the discipline of this guy. And it's a special person that can relate to the new player. But it's Pat Riley that's handling this. He suspended him twice. And I guess it kind of all depends on perspective. You said negative publicity. Again, I live here. So all I hear is what a gong show this has been. And I looked up the record. They're in a playoff spot. It's not that bad. I'm just kind of sitting here going, do you think at all, as the basketball executive you are, as to how you would handle it? Or do you not know enough? Because we don't really know what Jimmy Butler did. So.
Yeah, well, I reserve judgment on all that because you never know the inside story on most of those things. But I would trust that Pat Riley, and I actually had the occasion to meet him once a number of years ago, an impressive man indeed. Full trust that he would have a grip on the situation, and I'm sure he's handling it in a way that's is appropriate for his organization.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's probably a little late now to book a CEBL strategic planning session down here in Miami if you guys ever came as a league. But it would be great to all go to a Heat game together and get together face-to-face. But I guess we can do it this summer in Saskatoon as well. Anything else, Barry, before we let you go?
Well, it's just it's just a really exciting time in the CEBL, and it's a real exciting time for the Rattlers franchise. I know that Lee Genier, our team president, and certainly our staff has been working hard to try and put together a package that's going to be entertaining for our fans this summer. We're really trying to promote our product, trying to get more people out to the games that who are up to this point have been missing out, really, to be quite honest with you. And as free agent signings begin to occur here, it's going to be a very interesting time for us, and we're trying to put together a team that's going to be both entertaining and really a positive force in the community.
I know you will, Barry. Anything else you need, let me know. Congratulations on the new deal, and we'll be seeing you this spring.
Again, I appreciate you having me on, Rod, and I just really enjoy your show and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Barry. Appreciate you. The general manager of the Saskatchewan Rattlers, Barry Rawlyk, back for Season 7 in the Canadian Elite Basketball League. And, they do a great job. It is one thing that I hear is people say, we didn't even know about the league. and it's going into season 7. So I guess that needs to change, but being here on Game Plus with the games live doesn't hurt. We'll be right back and turn it over to you the rest of the way with sports update and viewer takeover with everything else that we didn't get to today, and we'll rehash what we did. Live on Game Plus, live streaming, and podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Quite a day on the old RP Show. A bumpy start. I'm going to tell you, we're in for a smooth landing here. I'm not joking. Nice work, guys. Here at the Millennium Falcon. 902-518-3033. I appreciate you sticking with us throughout regarding the pro basketball story. Tony out in George Fox country writes in, it just slipped off the screen. He says, the NBA and their multi-millionaire prima donnas are getting hard to watch. I love the CEBL. It is great. I don't know what else to say. You're not going to find a cheaper ticket, save for Western Canadian Baseball League and maybe WHL hockey, but the game experience is NBA-like. The people are great. The players are amazing. What's not to love? I just find it amazing that they're going into season 7, and there are people that say that they'd never heard of the league before, but there are people that say, we just discovered the Rod Pedersen show. We've been here all along, 1,422 shows. But it is what it is. And actually, Tony points out, he says, NCAA, especially March Madness, coming soon. It's funny because I was just reading the sports update here, and there's quite a bit of NCAA college basketball coverage in it. I'm like, I'm not going to read that. I don't think our audience is into that. I'm damn sure not. March Madness, maybe, but we're not there yet. But we do have, for the CFL fans that have been with us throughout the program, what's going on in Winnipeg? Blue Bombers released Canadian receiver Drew Wolotarski today. The 29-year-old had 33 catches this season for 403 yards in 10 games with the Blue Bombers. He was reportedly due a 5-figure bonus on Saturday. Winnipeg selected Wolotarski, an American by birth, in the 2017 CFL supplemental draft out of the University of Minnesota after he qualified for Canadian citizenship. Over 7 seasons with the Bombers, Wolotarski registered 227 catches for 2,955 yards and 18 tugs. He was also a member of 2 Grey Cup winning Bomber teams, 2019 and 2020. The move comes just days after the club parted ways with veteran linebacker Adam Bighill. Few different and interesting ways to look at that. Personally, I enjoyed watching Drew Wolotarski play. He came, remember, a lot of you won't know this, but during the CFL lockout, I guess it was 2021 he won his second Grey Cup because there was no season in 2020. So we did a computer video game regular season all through the year. All our staff here on this show. Yeah, that's right. We did a simulation league. We broadcast the games, and then players would come on and do interviews at halftime and zany stuff. And Drew Wolotarski was one of them. He came on and played his guitar at halftime. Or Clark, did he sing the anthem? Do you remember that? I think he sang the anthem and he played at halftime. For real. Not a computer simulation. This guy, Drew Wolotarski, he's a good guy. And then in the actual games, he'd score a touchdown and drop to his knees and do like a big guitar thing. Guys like him are what makes the CFL great. And Adam Bighill, too. I mean, it's Monday now, and what was it, Thursday, Friday? Word started to filter down that Bighill was out in Winnipeg. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm like a lot of the fans. I'm changing and changing fast. Hey, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Wolotarski, I just read off his stats. That's an unbelievable career. Bighill's going to the Hall of Fame. Bighill had a Hall of Fame career in BC and then a Hall of Fame career in Winnipeg. He had 2 Hall of Fame careers in one. But when it's over, it's over. It's not over for Jacob Ruby. The Ottawa Red Blacks have signed veteran Canadian offensive lineman Jacob Ruby to a 1-year contract. The 32-year-old from London, Ontario, was slated to become a free agent February the 11th. He's a great player, and he's been a supporter of ours, too. So that's why I like getting in the CFL coverage. But I guess I could just see my mom's face right now. Oh, Roddy, you cold-hearted SOB. And she would be saying it so sarcastically. I used to get attached. I don't anymore. This is wild. Perry's Automotive writes in. He says, how about those Prince Albert Raiders, first in the East Division? Just hang on. I got something for you, Perry, from Perry's Automotive. Max in Toronto writes in, and he says, are they saving up to bring back Kenny Lawler and or Dalton Schoen? Maybe. But my guess is there's just not much tread left on the tire. Bighill barely played this year, right? Allie in Texarkana. Here's the thing about the guys that are running the teams. They don't get attached. They're not sentimental. They just aren't. Especially those Winnipeg guys, the Canadian Mafia. Because they've won, We're going to sit here and argue with Mike O'Shea and Wade Miller, for that matter, or Kyle Walters. They've won. They've been to the top of the mountain. They are beyond reproach. Other teams don't have that luxury. They've earned it. Allie in Texarkana says, congratulations on your 10th anniversary from Kevin and I. This is a great accomplishment. Have a fantastic week. Thank you, Allie. 10 years sober today. And I can guarantee you life has never been better. Vintage Sasko writes in. He says, hi, Reverend Rod. I became an ordained minister on Sunday. That is not a joke. He says, hi, Reverend Rod. Congrats on 10 years sober and being ordained. Tough day here in the Scatch with all PV Marts closing. Thanking your show for a healthy distraction from this tough news. Signed, Brother Sasko. Hashtag PV Mart Strong. Welcome to PV Mart. How does the saying go? If we don't have it, you don't need it.
How about that?
Right? Welcome to PV Mart. If we don't have it, you don't need it. That's what I'm just reading it. I just read it in Vintage Sasko's text. He says all of Saskatchewan, but it's, from what I understand, it's all of Canada. Well, the best place to go is PV Mart. What are they going to call the rink in Red Deer? It's the PV Mart Center. Has anybody thought of that? Welcome to PV Mart. If we don't have it, you don't need it.
Bingo!
Sawyer Mineo scored twice. Ben Kindle chipped in with 4 assists, and the Calgary Hitmen knocked off the visiting Red Deer Rebels 6-1 in the Saddle Dome on Sunday in the dub. Carter Yakimchuk, Tanner Howe, David Adazinski, and Oliver Tulk also scored for the surging Hitmen. Meanwhile, in Edmonton, Braden Yager and Braden Edwards scored to give the visiting Lethbridge Hurricanes a 2-0 lead, and they hung on to beat the Edmonton Oil Kings 2-1. I'm sure Warrior fans watched Braden Yager playing for Lethbridge, scoring for Lethbridge with tears going down his cheeks, with their cheeks, maybe his too. The sooner you move on, the better. Oh, Roddy, you cold-hearted SOB. No, you got to move on and accept it. In Langley, Brady Burney scored at 2:27 of overtime to lift the visiting Swift Current Broncos to a 3-2 decision over the Vancouver Giants. In Saskatoon, Justice Christensen's second goal of the game scored at 3:31 of overtime, lifted the visiting Prince Albert Raiders to a 4-3 win over the Saskatoon Blade and a battle for top spot in the East. And in Everett, Dominic Ryman scored at 2:48 of overtime to lift the Everett Silvertips to a 2-1 win over the visiting Tri-City Americans. Apologies to the OHL and Q fans, but I'm a Dub guy. Kind of but odd. The Montreal Alliance announced today the appointment of Jermaine Small, a 2-time CEBL champion and coach of the year with the Edmonton Stingers, as their new head coach. Small, who boasts the highest winning percentage among head coaches in CEBL history at .719, becomes the third head coach in franchise history. Jermaine Small, the new coach of the CEBL's Montreal Alliance. The sports update for Landmark Cinemas. Get more of what you love. Free movies and concession items, invitations to exclusive screenings, special events, and more with their rewards program, Landmark Extras. Again, Flight Risk is #1 at the box office. Mel Gibson's Flight Risk. Go check it out this week at Landmark Cinemas. We'll be coming right back with overtime after this, and it will be a full viewer takeover. Here live on Game Plus TV, streaming live and podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Okay, the studio is here in South Florida, but our favorite shooting gallery is in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And if you're looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot, look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary with state-of-the-art shooting lanes, top-notch equipment. It's the ultimate training destination for players of all ages and skill levels. Whether you're training for the big game or just want to have some fun, check out Overtime Hockey Lanes at 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. We do have some fun comments that have come from the viewers. Listen, we would normally keep it to sports, but it is a pretty special day for me here today. It is, I'll be honest. Darcy in Grand Prairie writes in, he says, congratulations on 10 years sober, RP. You're an inspiration. Thank you, man. I'd like to say it's been easy. It hasn't really been easy, but it's better than it used to be. How about that? So we'll weave back and forth between all of that. Where the heck is it? BW in Edmonton writes in, he says, Rod, which church did you get ordained with? The Universal Life Church. Are you watching Brent in Wellington? The only reason I did it was to be able to be an officiant for weddings, funerals, preferably not funerals, and baptisms. This doesn't even seem real, actually. But Brent from Wellington, Florida. Bree from Wellington, Florida. Forget about Brent. Bree from Wellington, Florida runs a wedding planning service. And she was in need of somebody to do this. And she said, Rod, you'd be perfect. I didn't ask what it pays. Serena did. And as soon as Bree said, so that's why it happened. And how it happened. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes, and he says, Rod, what are you charging Bomber fans to marry their cousins? You get a sound effect for that, Clark?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Then he says, LOL, just joking. No, you're not. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta, writes, and he says, can I get an amen for Padre Pedersen paddling through the weeds in hour 1 and reaching a safe shore in hour 2? Good job, Rod. The thanks goes to you, Tony, for sticking around. I know the morbid side of you wanted to see how it all turned out, but we made it. We always make it. Dearly beloved, she said to me, nobody says that anymore. And I'm like, well, I'm going to bring it back. Allie in Texarkana writes, and she says, did you all get snow last week, Rod? We did not. But I was on the phone yesterday with my dad's former boss with the Dallas Stars, Les Jackson, 25 years or whatever. They worked together with the Stars. He is at some lake in Texas. And I said, he asked the same question. Did you all get snow? I said, no. Did you? And he says, yeah, we did. At whatever lake he's at in Texas. I don't like to pry. And he said that it only lasted for 20 minutes, though. B. Henderson writes in and says, congrats, Rod. Maybe you can ask for mercy for the American people. They need it now more than ever. Have you looked in your own backyard lately? just saying. Back, it is a sports show, I think. John in Edmonton says, Rod, do you think Connor McDavid should stay in the Four Nations tournament or pull out? He's undecided. Listen, let's pay attention to this for a second. It is Monday, January 27th, and I don't see anybody complain. I haven't seen anything about Alex Pietrangelo bowing out of this thing for an undisclosed illness, and then later that night he went and played 24 minutes for Vegas. Whatever. It's his life. I would be nice if he just said, I don't want to play for my own reasons. But you people, not you specifically, not the Rod Squad, but those people would not leave him alone. What do you mean you don't want to play for your country? If you don't want to play, you shouldn't have to play. This is a big deal. I would tell you to go back. I will tell you to go back and watch the Cats and Bolts podcast we did last week with Doug McLean. He said if he was a GM in the NHL right now, he would be a basket case, riddled with anxiety over losing a player to injury in the Four Nations face-off. A thing that the players make no money in that I know of. A money grab for the NHL. For what? Sweden, Finland, Canada, USA will play in a tournament. No matter who wins, somebody's going to say, well, Russia wasn't there, so it doesn't count. Or Czechs or whatever. Again, if you don't want to play, don't play. Paul in Humboldt says, every year my wife and I say, don't get attached when our hockey billet player arrives, but it is easier said than done, especially when empathy kicks in. I'm sure Ma Pedersen is very proud of you today. I appreciate that, Paul. She's obviously not with us anymore, but this is the one thing my mom said when I started 8 years ago, Pedersen recovery, not because I wanted to do it, but because I had so many people coming to me for help, which I was not inviting them. You know, my dad, he had a real business bone in him, and he was like, okay, you're going to get incorporated, you're going to get started, you're going to have a business doing this. And my mom was like, oh, Roddy, you won't be good at doing this counseling. You have too big of a heart. Thanks, Mom. She didn't mean anything by it, but she's wrong. I help people, and it does not affect emotionally. It doesn't. I'm sorry. This is what you need to do to turn your life around. Because I've done it, and I've seen a lot of people do it. This is what you need to do. If they don't do it, that's on them. You don't like to see the suffering, but it's a long story. It's a sports show. Yeah. John in Edmonton says apparently tickets are not going well for the Four Nations face-off. I've heard the same. But I mean, they're running ads. Are they up there in Canada? They're running ads like crazy on the U.S. on ESPN because they're a rights holder. On the Panthers broadcast, they're running the ads like crazy. I don't know. I'm going to tell you something. 99.9% of Americans don't even know what the hell this is, this Four Nations face-off. As I say, the NHL can do no wrong in my eyes, and that's why I'm very hesitant to criticize the NFL. Dude, last hour, Zig Fracassi wanted no part of criticizing the NFL and the officiating. Why? Because he works for them. I'm sitting here with a tremendous relationship with the Florida Panthers. I don't want to screw that up either. So it's tough in today's world. You used to be able to say a little of what you thought. Now you can't say any of what you thought. Yeah, Zig's got a great job broadcasting on NFL radio. Why screw that up? BW says, stay safe, everyone. Eastbound and down. Taylor in Calgary says, love the mug, Rod. I love it, too. There is a lot of CFL representation on here. I feel like I got to get some NFL representation on the backdrop. But we've got Panthers, Kraken, Blackhawks, Ron and Don. See, college football down. We're doing pretty good. Father Rod will do. Allie and Texar can't. Father Rod will do, I think. Great job, guys. We'll do it all again tomorrow.
How about that?
Let's go beat up DuPont.